never done that before.
Hi guys, I do hope you're well. So today's video is actually going to be me comparing these two foundations, the Fenty foundation and the Huda Beauty foundation. Before I start, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Also make sure that you hit that notification bell down below to get notified every single time I post. Also like the video if you want to see more from me. Let's go. Before I start, I want to mention that I'm here to tell you which one I personally like and which one I personally will recommend my friends to buy, you guys to buy. So I'm going to set the video up in a couple of parts. I'm going to give you some background info, then I'm going to go into swatches, then application, then I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of each of the foundations, and then my overall thoughts. Some background info: I'm around NC40. I have combination skin. I can get oily around here and here. Around here is kind of normal, but at the same time I can get dry on my forehead and around my nose as well. The shades that I got in the Huda Beauty foundation is Baklava, and for Fenty Beauty I got 300. I have filmed individual videos of these, so I recommend you to watch those if you want a little bit more information. The price of the Huda Beauty foundation is £32 and you can buy it in Selfridges and Harrods. The price of the Fenty Beauty foundation is £26 and you can only buy it in Harvey Nichols online or in store. This bottle does have 35 ml inside of it, whereas this bottle has 32 ml in it. Both of them are above average. I'm not gonna lie, I prefer the glass bottle compared to the plastic, but from what Huda Beauty said, she wanted a plastic bottle because she wanted it to be a lot more travel friendly, and I suppose for makeup artists this can be really handy because it's less bulky and you can carry it in your makeup kit a lot easier. Now I'm going to go into swatching both of these foundations. So as you can see, this is the Fenty foundation in 300 and I'm just going to blend it into my skin. This is a little bit warmer than I would go for my foundations personally, but this was the closest match for me personally. 290 was a bit too light and 310 was a bit too like orange. It was even a lot more warmer than this. Now for the Huda Beauty one, I'm just gonna swatch it right here. This is a lot of a thicker consistency, you can definitely tell. Rub that in, you can definitely see the difference between the two. And they both do settle a little bit darker, by the way. So this one is the shade 340. The shade above was way too light and the shade below was actually a bit too pink for my liking. I could have easily gotten away with 400, which I think is called macchiato. Maybe I'm wrong, I'll put it on the screen, but it was between this and macchiato for me. I decided to go for 340. I'm actually gonna apply the Huda Beauty primer and I actually like this primer, believe it or not. If there wasn't a sample, to be honest, I would have never really considered buying it, but once I've used it I was just like, oh my god, I love this. It feels like a skincare product rather than a primer, which I personally love, and I love the smell of it. So I'm gonna apply the Fenty foundation on this side, and I am going to use a kabuki slanted brush. Both of the foundations I'm going to apply with similar brushes. They're not the same brushes though. So I'm going to take about a pump. Actually wait, for half my face I definitely don't need a pump, so I'm going to put some away in here. And I'm just going to blend the Fenty foundation away. But as you can see, it does kind of blend in well with my skin tone. It's nothing, that noticeable. Struggle is real to apply foundation with your hijab on. These two foundations are definitely different in terms of the finish, in terms of the effect they give. There's different things that I like about each of them. They're not really that close. The reason why I wanted to compare it is because I know a lot of people are kind of sitting on the fence whether they want to buy the Fenty or the Huda Beauty foundation, which is understandable because they've been kind of released around the same time. This is how the Fenty foundation looks on me right now. You can tell compared to the other side of my face, it's a little bit more tan than I will usually go for. Like, it's a little bit more warmer. Now going on with the Huda Beauty foundation on this side, and I'm going to use a different brush, which you can see here. And I literally only need a half a pump of this, not even. It's so pigmented. This is the most full coverage foundation I have ever used. I personally obviously don't need full coverage foundation. I, alhamdulillah, have been blessed with naturally reasonably good skin. As I said, both of them set to a different colour, but you can definitely see the shade difference between the two. Compared to this side, the Huda foundation looks a lot more glowy, a little bit more dewy compared to the Pro Matte foundation, and you can definitely tell the shade difference. I am gonna wait for this to set a little bit because as you can see from the swatches on my hand, it does set a little bit darker. A thing that I have been liking about this foundation is that I've been doubling it up as my concealer underneath my eyes. With the Pro Filt'r foundation, I cannot do that because of the formulation. The formulation of this is so creamy. Literally, I'm going to take a little bit and I'm going to place it underneath my eyes, and that's probably a bit too much for me, but I've been loving using it as concealer. It is so full coverage and it literally covers everything, and it's so hydrating underneath my eye. I was going to say hydrating. I'm so weird. I do think that I could have easily gotten away with using the shade 400 because 400 did have a more warmer goldeny undertone. This is more neutral. I couldn't really go for 350 because it was a lot more pink. So I'm going to zoom you in to show you how the foundations both look on my skin. So this is the side with the Huda Beauty foundation, and as I said, it's super skin light, a lot more dewy than the Fenty one. And then we have the Fenty side, which looks a lot more tan. And this does have a little bit more of a matte finish. But right now what I can see is that on the Fenty side, it is settling into my smile lines. I think you can see it right there. Compared to this side, it's not as settling as much. You definitely, in my personal opinion, you can see the difference between the two, excluding the fact that they're two different shades. So I am gonna quickly go finish off my face. It's so weird to have two different foundations on my face, but I am gonna finish off. I'm gonna apply some lip products and contour and whatnot, and then I will come back to you guys. So I have applied a little bit of contour. It's my Sleek medium kit contour, and for my lips I applied this Kiko lip liner in 420 and then this Primark lip gloss in 18K. So let's get into the pros of both these products. For both of them, I love the finish of the foundation. They both have different finishes. The Huda foundation is definitely more skin-like, and personally I do feel like it kind of gives that blurring effect. I took a couple of photos with this, with my camera, with flash, without flash, and it kind of gives my skin that smooth blurred effect. And I guess the fact that the name is, you know, Faux Filt'r foundation kind of shows that it works. And then for the Fenty foundation, it's a lot more of a soft matte finish. I like the fact that it isn't super flat matte, if you get what I mean. It still kind of gives that sheen to the skin. It doesn't look so flat on the face. You can still see dimension, and it's great at evening out the skin tone. But I do personally love the finish of the Huda one. The shade range for both of these foundations are great. I know Huda only has 30 shades and Fenty has 40, but the fact that Huda started with 30 is still reasonably good. And if you have her on Snapchat, she has mentioned that she is going to, you know, improve on the shade range, add more shades. And Fenty, which is great, like they have 40 foundations, which is so exciting, and their campaign was great as well. But again, another thing to keep in mind is the fact that places like MAC have 40 shades. Both the wear of the foundation is really good, but I do think the Fenty foundation wears a little bit better, just because my oils come through a little bit less when I'm wearing the Fenty foundation. I know for the Huda one you can put powder on and everything, but still I feel like the Fenty one wears a little bit better, and the coverage of both of these are different, but I like them both. This one is full coverage. Like, it covers so much. I don't own any foundation like this. I have watched videos of girls that have applied this on their acne scars, on their hyperpigmentation, and it completely disappears. Whereas the Fenty one, I feel like is a little bit medium to full. Is buildable, but even then I don't feel like it's as full coverage as the Huda foundation. If you're looking for coverage, sis, you gotta go for the Huda foundation. The prices for these are quite different. I think there's about a £10 difference. This is £26, which I think is really affordable when it comes to higher end foundation. What I mean by that, it is sold in Harvey Nichols. Harvey Nichols is a higher end department store, so the fact that this foundation for 32 ml is £26 is pretty impressive. Now this foundation is £32, but there is 35 ml in it. It is a lot on the pricier side. It's probably one of my most expensive foundations that I own. It is sold in Selfridges and Harrods. Again, is a higher end department store. Huda Beauty's makeup line in general is higher end, is not, you know, in the affordable price bracket. Even if you look at her eyeshadow palettes, they're about £56. So yeah, like, I don't know like what you're expecting when you're buying something that is higher end. But a thing to keep in mind with the Huda Beauty foundation is that you can double it up as your concealer. As you saw, it covered a lot of my discoloration underneath my eyes, and personally I don't think you need color corrector with this foundation compared to the Fenty foundation. I wouldn't try this underneath the eyes because it is quite drying underneath the eyes. Obviously, I don't even know if this is meant to be underneath the eyes. I know that from Huda Beauty's Snapchat and her Insta story, she has used this underneath people's eyes, and I do personally like it underneath my eyes. I like both of the textures of the foundation. I know that's a really weird thing. Even though this is a thicker consistency, it doesn't feel heavy on the face. When I initially saw it in store, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it's gonna feel like really cakey on the face, but it doesn't. It is super light and it's skin-like, as I've said 1,000 times. Whereas the Fenty foundation is a little bit more of a drier consistency compared to the Huda Beauty foundation. And the Fenty one, it does set a little bit faster compared to the Huda one. With the Huda one, you have a little bit more time to work with the foundation. I'm not gonna lie, I like the fact that with the Huda, you have a little bit more time to work with it. But I have to say, when it comes to the fact that the Fenty foundation doesn't need to be set, it kind of appeals to me more. This foundation, when I wear it on a day-to-day basis, I actually don't set it because it finishes to a kind of cream to powder, which I personally like. Whereas this Huda foundation, for me, for my combo skin, I need to set it. I can't get away with not setting it because it kind of gives that tacky feeling. Right now, obviously, I have set it, so it hasn't got that feeling. You don't need to set this for combo skin. You kind of do need to set this for combo skin. I feel like both of these will appeal to two different skin types. This will be great for oily combo skin. For dry skin, I'm not too sure because it can cling on to dry patches. Whereas this, perfect for dry skin girls because it's super hydrating. It does have skincare properties. I'm out of breath. It does have skincare properties as well. That might be why it's so hydrating. Personally, I feel like these foundations have more pros than more cons, and they both have even pros, if that makes sense. By the way, I am reading some notes off my book, so that's why I'm kind of looking down. Now I'm going into the cons. I need a sip of water first. The shade chart or the shades online look completely different to in person, especially the fact that they set to a different color compared to how they swatch. This is how the foundations look. You can skip to the beginning of the video to see how they have changed. They have definitely set to a different color. Now, this can be kind of, you know, difficult when selecting your shades online. I will recommend to go in store. That's the best thing to do. Go in store, get yourself matched, wear the foundation for 10 minutes and, you know, see how you feel. Now, how the shades look on me personally. This is in 300 again, and this is in Baklava 340, just a reminder. This does dry to a warmer, much more orange on me personally, but on the bottle it does have that beautiful neutral oliveness, if you get what I mean. Whereas this one, it does look a little bit lighter on my skin tone, however it doesn't look ashy. If you're a brown girl, you know that a lot of the times if you buy a lighter, even if it's a tad bit lighter, it can look so ashy, which is something that I struggled with personally. So I like the fact that it doesn't look ashy. Yes, it does have that olive neutralness in the bottle, but it does translate to a different color compared to how you apply it on your face. However, I do feel like you can work with the Huda Beauty foundation in terms of adjusting it. I know it's a £32 foundation, people don't want to adjust it, it should be the right shade, but if you happen to have bought the wrong shade, a lighter shade, you can easily adjust it by using, you know, those adjusting shade things. NYX has some and Body Shop had some, so I can easily use that and make this foundation into a closer match compared to this one. I feel like if I add a lighter tone to this, it will completely change how the foundation is on my skin. I don't need it to be lighter, I need it to be a different undertone. So it kind of, you know, they're both not perfect matches for me. They're not, you can clearly see they're not perfect, but I suppose with foundations the aim is to get something that is the closest match to your skin tone. Let's be real here, you're not gonna find a foundation that is a perfect match. The only way you're gonna get a perfect match is by getting your freaking mum and dad's chromosomes and then let's build some foundation like that. The reality of it is, in life you're not gonna find a perfect foundation, especially if you are a brown girl. We have so many different shades on our face. Now my overall thoughts. I would rate this foundation out of 10 a 7, a strong 7. I like it, the fact that it doesn't need setting. I like the fact that it kind of gives that soft matte feeling on my face, but I will probably rate this I'm kind of stuck. Like, I will rate a 6.9 out of 10. I know that's really like, girl, just rate it a 7, but for me, the fact that this needs powdering, it's an extra step to my routine. It's kind of like and also I feel like, as I said, the Fenty foundation for me wears a lot better compared to this one. But yeah, that is my overall thoughts on the foundation. I know a lot of you have been looking forward to watching this. I do hope you enjoy it. Make sure that you do like, comment, and do subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I will see you guys in my next video. Also, tell me how you feel about these foundations, you know. Do you think this side is better? Do you think this side is better? You let me know. Anyway, peace.